house to house to house within a neighborhood that will then accumulate all of the usage data that will transmit that to the utility company. Now, what that will do is that the end metering system that is transmitting all of that data will be firing an RF signal at many, many times a second, which will increase the average homeowner's radio frequency radiation exposure exponentially.
This picture shows some aphids on the leaf of an orange tree shortly after radar equipment was installed at a nearby airport a number of years ago. I noticed that every few seconds, all the aphids would tense up in unison and do sort of a little dance, as you see in the picture. Upon further investigation, I found that the interval of time between the activity of each dance coincided exactly with the rotation of the radar rotor device at the airport, which was a distance of approximately 14 miles.
And we now have vast amounts of published science on microwave radiation and health effects. The data we're going to look at are all published science, testing results, or public standards. At the bottom end of the radiation scale of what's called power density or signal strength is the minimum level at which cell phones will work, which was found to be 0.2 billionths of a microwatt per centimeter squared. Pine needles were found to age prematurely at 0.00027. At short-term exposures of 0.5, children aged 8 to 17 experienced headache, irritation, concentration difficulties, and behavioral problems. Point 1 is the biobiology or building biology guideline for extreme concern. 1.0 produced sperm DNA fragmentation and a decrease in sperm viability in vitro. Also at 1.0, the science shows the following bodily effects can occur: headaches, dizziness, fatigue, insomnia, chest pain, difficulty breathing, and indigestion. 2.5 saw altered calcium metabolism in heart muscle cells. 4.0, changes in the hippocampus affecting brain memory and learning. And at 6.0, DNA damage in cells. So, where are smart meters on this list? Electrical Power Institute in December 2010 measured a single Itron smart meter with pulses up to 7.93 microwatts per centimeter squared. Our own testing indicated approximately 8.0 with 1 meter. These tests are at a close distance, approximately 1 foot away from the meter, but an infant's crib could be just as close on the other side of the wall where the meter or bank of meters are installed. Even though there are all these known health effects at levels far lower, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, and Luxembourg see fit to set the standard at 9.5. And China, Poland, and Russia, 10.0. This is the same level at which behavior has been altered, producing reflexes of avoidance following 30-minute exposures. A room of 12 smart meters, very common and even a conservative number in an apartment building, tested at 19.8 microwatts per centimeter squared. This is hundreds of times higher than levels which clearly indicate harmful effects. So, how can utilities and governments get away with forcing these devices on everyone? This is how. In Canada and the US and several other civilized countries, the safety limit is set at 600 to 1,000 microwatts per centimeter squared. This so-called safety limit is literally tens of thousands of times higher than levels which are known to damage health, according to peer-reviewed published science. It's actually based on research from the 1960s that looked at thermal effects. Mm-hmm. So literally they had this dummy head, right? So think of this, like in the car accident commercials where you have this dummy head.
Yes.
And it's filled with like a fluid. Mm-hmm. And the fluid has to go up by 1 full degree in order for something to be deemed unsafe. So what Health Canada is saying is that you have to cook the cells before any negative effects can happen. And that's of course absurd. We know that with so much other research.
There was an organization called the Committee on Man and Radiation. Essentially, the Committee on Man and Radiation intellectually framed this as a controversy that there was no such thing as a non-thermal effect. that thermal effects were the only good science, and they had good science on their side, and anyone who said otherwise was either a crank or needed to be dismissed from the area altogether.
One website in Central California has posted more than 300 letters received from those suffering functional impairments since having their meter, quote, upgraded. The one thing all these people had in common? Their utility did not tell them the dangers associated with the new meter.
Our concern is that smart meters add to this multiple source exposure to radio frequency radiation. Radio frequency radiation that we know causes a variety of biological effects, and where we have very strong evidence that it causes disease, specifically brain cancer and other diseases.